Hey, I'm Brian Van.
I'm Max Van.
And today we're going to recap
Our second test with Team Hammer at Little Talladega in Alabama. So first of all, to open up, I want to thank all my supporters that have made these past few seasons in Moto America happen. Of course, Fahad Khan over at Precision Track Days. You're the man. I really appreciate it. Nate Phipps over at Two Wheel Dyno Works. Of course, my dad for working very lazy throughout the past few years. No, I'm just kidding. All of the SportbikeTrackGear.com customers that have been supporting us throughout the past 20 years of us being
20
open.
years, man.
20
Long
years.
time.
Spiegler Brake Lines, M4 Exhaust, Vortex Racing, Driven Racing, Hot Bodies Racing, RST, Helmet House, my man Rick over there, CD, Araya Americas, of course, Chris Ulrich, John Ulrich over at Team Hammer, Tech Spec, Detroit Custom Paint, man, it's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a great year.
I'm excited. There's so many more. I really appreciate you guys.
So we went down to Tally, and we're watching the weather before we go. That's what you do, you know.
Yeah.
Want to be prepared, mount some tires and shit.
Yeah.
And there were tornado warnings.
Tornado warnings and rain both days.
And rain both days. That's what we saw in the forecast.
Like 100% both days. Like pretty
Pretty
bad.
much, yeah.
Saturday was bad.
I mounted a couple of sets of reins. I took a few extra sets of reins.
Yeah.
We had some dry tires as well.
Yeah.
We get down there, and Saturday all day,
we
had winds sustained 20 to 30 miles an hour.
With like
all day.
Like 40-mile-an-hour gusts here and there. It was pretty crazy.
All day.
It was blowing off the brake marking signs, like going into certain corners. They just float off the track.
That's funny.
It wouldn't be there. And then I remember going on the straightaway, the front straightaway at Little Tally, the wind was blowing directly into it, and I couldn't get back in the bubble under my tuck. I was hanging off the bike like this, trying to fight the wind to keep the bike from getting pushed off the racetrack. It's funny.
It was pretty gnarly. He came in a couple of times, we're just making some quick changes.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is actually a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, it was dangerous to go fast and when you're just putzing around and doing okay lap time. So when you're trying to push, because you don't know when you're going to get a gust that's just going to, again, try and push you off the track or try and do something. You know what I mean? So it's a little awkward, but it was fun. It was cool.
This weekend, we didn't even ride Old Blue.
Didn't even ride Old Blue.
We had it there as a backup, but we stopped at the Team Hammer race shop and we picked up the bike that he's going to be racing this year. Ironically, it actually has his name in the VIN. Max is in the VIN.
It's got Max in the VIN.
Pretty cool.
Yep. It was Richie Escalante's bike in the 200.
Yeah, for the 200.
It's his frame, yeah.
Picked up a bunch of wheels and tires and different stuff and some fuel, and one of the other technicians came down.
Shout out to Cole, Dustin, and of course Chris Ulrich for getting that piece together for me before the weekend. And I was happy.
How was the bike?
I'm just going to start off with this. I'm really picky about my motorcycles because my father builds a pretty okay bike. So I kind of know after riding other people's bikes over the years, I kind of know what's right and what I don't like and what's wrong. You get where I'm coming from. And I will say, I think the boys over at Team Hammer might have surpassed you a little bit. And the bike I rode, with some fancy parts on it.
That, dude.
Felt good. It felt
they did a great job. I'm pumped. I get to work on it all year, which is I'm pretty stoked about being a part of the team too.
Yeah.
They did a great job. We're testing some links. We're testing triple clamps, some different engine braking strategies while we're there.
Some different Dunlop sticky tires we tested.
Yeah, we got the Japanese rears. We got to use a couple of those on Sunday. So let's talk about, the conditions on Saturday were less than desirable.
Yeah, but then Sunday came along.
What'd you do for a lap time?
I only did 59s going the regular way, and then going backwards. That was the next day, and overnight we had some of the gnarliest thunder I've ever heard in my life. And granted, I'm not old. We live in Michigan, so I don't have that many.
Sky was purple a few times. We're looking outside.
Sky was purple, and I remember I'm on the phone with my girlfriend telling her how my day went, and I hear some shit outside, and I thought I was like the devil was coming for me. It was
crazy.
It was not ideal.
When we wrapped up at the end of the day on Saturday, we obviously put everything away in the trailer. His bike, the blue bike, was in there already on the trailer restraint just because we left it in there over the weekend, didn't need it.
We put both bikes in the trailer.
Yeah, we put a trailer restraint on his race bike for the season and put it back in the trailer in case we came the next day and the trailer was flipped over.
Yeah.
At least the bike wouldn't be foobar.
Yeah.
Right? That's how much the weather was an issue for sure.
We would leave our side door open, like to get into the trailer, just a small little side door, probably like 8x3. It's tiny. And when gust of wind would come through, it would literally like lift the trailer. You could feel the suspension just teeter-totter to the left side. It was
pretty gnarly. So we get there Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Track was wet.
Track was wet, and there was some I can't really say rivers, but like these crazy ass, of course they have ditches for drainage, and it was full. Like it was like the ditch was so full. I've never seen something like that before because we don't get that kind of rain usually up here in Michigan. Waited the first session, went out after that, having some fun, riding around with some cool instructors, and then it came time for the last session, tested some Dunlop tires, made a change. Chris Ulrich suggested we make a change of the shock that I was struggling with all weekend long. I just felt like when I got on the gas, I didn't feel an initial squat, so the rear was too stiff. So I didn't have the confidence to get on the gas because it was spinning. And even Saturday,
I'm going to call bullshit right there.
So
we're watching.
He's going to call bullshit.
Right, Cole and I are watching at the wall. We're changing tires, supporting the bike for him. We're watching at the wall. We're going backwards now. And he's going through what is turn one, but it's, backwards. We're still going to call it turn one. He's exiting. And every time there's a couple of bumps there on the exit.
Yeah, and then it just upsets the chassis.
Oh, yeah. And this thing's spinning. It looks like you're about to take a moonshot, right? And I'm watching him. I'm thinking, shit, man, we're going to be fixing this bike. Like, what? I'm shitting my pants. He comes in, and I'm like, dude, are you good? Like, do you have... Yeah, I got it. It's no problem.
Well, I'm going to say this. Throughout the past few years, of course, we've made changes to the bike, but being on this factory team with Chris Ulrich, we have all this support. He has all this data, on this chassis that he's literally been using since 2011. So he kind of knows, looking at the data on like seeing and me telling him that I'm, I guess, not really comfortable, but I was because I felt like, I just needed to change myself or something wrong that I was doing instead of maybe changing the bike to suit me. And
what did you get down to before we changed the shock spring?
I don't even know if I was in the 59s at all going backwards. I think I was doing a minute. We changed the shock spring, and immediately I went out and I just started doing 58s, and I was clicking them off. And I'll try and send Tom an onboard video that I have using my Insta 360.
We got that set up. That was kind of cool.
I literally dropped a second and a half just because of a shock spring change.
So we've got, the bike has, I think it's a 2D data acquisition system on it. And basically there's a little USB drive, and Cole came down with Chris's laptop. We have a Starlink internet thing that, we run off the generator or whatever. And Chris wasn't able to come to the track. He was riding the Yamaha R9, but on Sunday he was able to remotely review the data. So after each session, Cole would go over and pop the USB drive in, laptop's fired up, Chris remotes in. Chris goes through the data, and then
screen sharing. It was weird.
It was pretty cool.
You could see, the mouse moving, but Chris was 2 or 3 hours away at his home, still in Alabama. But it was thankful.
Yep.
It was nice to have his help. And once we made that shock change,
well, he knows. Chris has a tremendous amount of experience. He knows his shit, and honestly, that's the area where I can get you a bike it's going to be good. It's going to be stable. But when you get to those real fine details, that's not in my wheelhouse. That's not my area of expertise. I'm a chassis tech. I'm going to put together a really nice bike for you. It's going to be assembled very well. But when it comes to those really fine details, the crew chief level shit, I'm only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
And, Chris called for that change. Boom. Yeah. Cole and I went out there. I pulled my shock spring compressor out, right?
Yeah.
Got everything going, and we did it in a matter of just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to get out there for that session.
Exactly, and Cole and my dad, you guys both busted their asses, and then went out there, and I was immediately comfortable. Like my first flying lap was like half a second faster than my previous session I was doing all day. And usually I'm a build-up guy. Like I can't go out there and go fast the first lap. I have a problem with that, and I think hopefully I kind of changed that over last weekend because I felt comfortable and everything felt great. And I know I could have gone faster. Watching like my onboard video, I see the mistakes that I was making. And what I can improve for next time when I go to tally.
And 58 backwards at Tally is wicked fast.
Yeah, I
Like
think
that's a very, very.
Yeah.
To be fair, like we went backwards last year. We rode at Tally.
I did a 101.1 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I dropped, what's that? Like 2.5 seconds of what I did.
A lot. You know, we're hoping that translates when we head to Barber for the first round this year. Last year at Barber, your best time was a 28 flat.
Yeah.
Which is fast.
Yeah, it's gotta be faster. So especially with the competition that I have this year, I mean, it's the same as last year.
The best of the best, dude.
To be in the top 10 and to qualify in the top 10, I at least need to do a high 26 in qualifying 2 or in the time attack if Moto America's doing that. But I think with the support of my dad now and him having some more knowledge and Team Hammer.
It's going to be I mean, all Dad's doing is twisting the nuts and the bolts. I mean, it's going to be working with Team Hammer, working with Chris.
My guy Jimmy.
Having Jimmy there, you know, all of us collectively working together to put you on the best possible package.
Yeah.
To give you the confidence to go out there and just repeat what you did at Tally. We need you to improve in the same manner that you did at Tally. You carry that over to Barber, and instead of, you know, hoping to score top 10, you know,
you're already in the
maybe
top
we can
10.
move into that next group.
Yeah.
Right? And ride more towards the front, because ultimately that's the goal.
That's the goal.
You know, we want to see you make the most of this opportunity this year.
Yeah, for sure. And we also tested, so Moto America is now allowing for the Gixxer some fancy triple clamps and shock links. So at Roebling, we found the shock link that I like, and we had that. Helps with longevity on the tire. It's huge. Whoever designed that, I'm sure it was Chris, did a wonderful job. And then we put some triple clamps on them. They made some adjustments for me, and the bike feels great. It's not too soft. It's not too stiff. The bike turns like a dime. And yeah, I think the Gixxer is going to be a good platform this year too.
It's a great platform. It's the greatest bike for sure, no doubt.
Fight with the other bikes, man. I can't wait to take it to them.
And it is kind of cool. Like you're getting to help work on some of these parts that Chris is developing right now for the 750 platform.
Yeah.
We tested some triple clamps when we were at Roebling, and after you came in one session.
Me, yes, no likey.
He's like, take those things off the bike,
Take them off, no thanks.
Yeah, because in their current state, they were rigid, and it introduced a lot of chatter. He was sensitive to it. He didn't like it. We took them off, went back to OEMs.
They were rock hard.
Okay, that's weird. You know, so now the ones that we use this time,
they're great.
They've been relieved a little bit, so there was a little more flex built into them, and it was cool that you got to be I think you were the first guy to ride them like that.
Yeah, and I loved them. Like, I never thought, like my dad didn't work on it and build it up, and kind of make his little adjustments. I didn't know if I'd be comfortable, but I think I finally made that break where I can't be a wussy anymore, and I like the black bike, so it's awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, if you want to reach your goals, right, and have a continuing career racing here, you're going to need to this year. You got to go out here. You've got a great opportunity right now.
And try some different shit as well.
Yeah, you need to make the most of it. You need to keep doing what you're doing because that's what got you here. But you need to expand upon it enough.
Exactly.
To improve those spots to keep this thing going for you.
Yeah. So right now, I guess that's the last recap before the season. We're going into Moto America at Barber here in 2 weeks' time. Literally, I should be out on track, kind of like at this very moment.
Fucking can't wait either.
In 2 weeks in Alabama, and I'll have my new RST suit, and I'm excited to show you guys that. It's going to be cool looking.
Design is sick. Chris did that too. Did a phenomenal job.
So, well, I appreciate you guys watching.
Yes.
Sure, he's the same way.
We'll see you
in 2 weeks' time
at Barber.